Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be exploring an iceberg created by a Reddit user named Joey the Deception. It covers many interesting and lesser known aspects of LEGO Batman the video game, which only gets stranger and more niche as we traverse down through the deepest depths of this iceberg. This is a game I'm sure many of us of a certain age would definitely remember from childhood. I certainly do, but for me it was more of the sequel. So without further ado, let's dive into the iceberg and find out if this is truly the darkest LEGO video game ever produced to date. So the first item in this iceberg is referring to the fact that that LEGO Batman the video game is primarily set in a version of Tim Burton's Batman universe, and since Joel Schumacher took over the series from 1995's Batman Forever, his influence is also seen in this game. Despite the fact that Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins was only released 3 years prior to this game's release, and The Dark Knight was due to release the very same year in 2008. Much of the game's design cues and overarching storylines are directly lifted from the Burton and Schumacher series of films, Burton's influence being more evident by the overuse of the Gothic architecture, the character models featured, and the music used. However, the Arkham Asylum design took more cues from Schumacher's depiction. Each of the game's levels are actually separately based on both Burton movies and Schumacher's Batman Forever. Story 1 in the game is based on Batman Forever, with 2 levels based on the final film in the series Batman and Robin. Story 2 is based on Batman Returns, and Story 3 is based on the 1989 movie. There are actually many references to various other pieces of Batman media throughout the game. Notable includes a reference to the 1966 Adam West Batman, with the Penguin submarine from that show being featured in the game as a playable vehicle. The Wayne Enterprise building is also directly based on Nolan's Batman Begins. Suit upgrades. So suit upgrades is referring to a core part of the game's gameplay for the heroes in the game. There are unlockable suits which give the hero characters special abilities which are needed to progress through some of the puzzles throughout the levels. Red bricks are hidden around the map and are needed to unlock these suit upgrades, and about half of the red bricks that you are able to collect throughout the game are just needed to unlock all of the available suits for the heroes, which are needed for the levels. Hush. So Hush is one of the last characters in the game you unlock, but that's his only special ability is that he's able to build faster, which is something you would have unlocked a long time ago, before gaining access to him. Lack of gold bricks. So for the first time in the main series of LEGO games, LEGO Batman the video game did not actually feature any collectible gold bricks as part of the gameplay. This is a feature that had been in every previous game, and in fact every main series LEGO game since, so it's a bit bizarre as to why they didn't include them. I never noticed that until a while ago. Robin is Tim Drake. So anyone familiar with Batman lore will know there will be multiple inversion characters who take on the role of Robin based on a combination of Robin's character model designed in the game and an extract from the console's instruction manual, as well as the DS version of the game having a Tim Drake character. It's reasonable to assume that Robin in this game is Tim Drake. Ra's al Ghul. So this is pointed out to the fact that in LEGO Batman the video game, Ra's al Ghul is the final character that is unlocked, and you must complete all other challenges and unlockables in order to obtain him. And his only special ability is that he is able to walk across zip lines quicker than other characters. Batman the Animated Series designs. So this entry of the iceberg is fairly simple. It's referring to how the designs for characters such as Clayface, Poison Ivy, Two-Face, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, and to a lesser extent Mr. Freeze are based off of their counterparts presented in Batman the Animated Series, which isn't true because this game uses the designs from the 2006 to 2008 designs, but since we've never gotten Clayface as a figure, I'll take him with a grain of salt. Killing Joke reference. So the Killing Joke is probably the most famous modern Batman comic. Even those who have never read or seen the films, like me, have likely heard of the Killing Joke. It's famous for its dark and gritty nature, but also for at least being one of the few pieces of mainstream Batman media to explore the origins of the Joker in any serious and significant detail. And in the game, there is a tropical Joker character model. The overall design and expression on the character model's faces seem to be a direct reference to when he broke into Barbara Gordon's house and while she's showering and goes and takes pictures of her, which is assault by the way. Surprise inclusion given the target audience of LEGO and its games are for a family audience. DS exclusive characters. So this is referring to how the 3DS version of the game features unique character models such as classic versions of characters, and you can walk around as unmasked heroes, and villains such as Tim Drake, Selena Kyle, and Jonathan Crane, along with exclusive characters such as Dr. Hugo Strange and Ra's al Ghul's daughter Talia al Ghul. DS differences. So this just means how different the games are on the DS compared to consoles, with designs, missions, layouts, hubs, and more because of hardware limitations. Reused models in LEGO Batman 2. So this one's quite self-explanatory. Some of the assets used in this game were reused in the sequel of LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes. For example, the model designs of Mr. Freeze and the Penguin. Tier 2. Chalk outline. So this is kind of dark, but in the level the Riddler makes a withdrawal, there is a chalk outline on the floor in the parking lot under the bank, indicating the presence of a dead LEGO minifigure. There's no context to why this is here, other than to add to the eerie, creepy, and mysterious atmosphere of the world in this universe. Broken extra toggle. So extra toggle allows you to even more characters in a level during free play, and in LEGO Batman, for some reason, whether a glitch or rushed development, the extra toggle doesn't work except for the police marksman, along with a list of possible implement of characters, and that would be white police officer, red freeze guard, orange security guard, several construction workers, and more. There are quite a few videos online which cycle through them if you want to find out more about them. It's very interesting to read. Team Penguin reference. So this item is referring to an alleged reference in the game to the 2004 show The Batman. In one episode of the show titled Team Penguin, the Penguin starts a team with some other villains, these being Killer Moth, Killer Croc, Ragdoll, Firefly, and Bane. In the game, the Penguin similarly makes a team, including both Killer Croc and Bane, so it's theorized that this is a reference to that show and episode, which makes sense since the Penguin in both is voiced by Tom Kenny, the voice of Spongebob Squarepants. Facts. So it's actually pronounced blips, but for the first time in a LEGO game, you are able to purchase blips, which is basically information about characters in the city from the in-game store. They created a much more developed lore for the in-game universe. There are also character profiles and facts displayed on the loading screens in between missions and levels. It's possible that these facts are part of the wider Batman canon, but nothing's specified, so we're not sure, but some of it's from other media that is reused in this game. Store exclusive villains. So in this game, as with most LEGO games, there is an in-game store you can purchase character models and other unlockables. This entry is referring to that there are some characters you have to purchase from the store instead of unlocking them, including Man-Bat and the Mad Hatter, Classic Catwoman, and Tropical Joker, are only available through the store along with Ra's al Ghul and Hush like mentioned before. Military policeman. So the military policeman doesn't appear at all in the game, but it was made up from past LEGO games such as a helmet from LEGO Star Wars and the rest of the minifigure, the German soldiers from LEGO Indiana Jones, so we're not really sure why this is available in the game. Billboards. So in the game there are many billboards which depict characters from the story and other in-game references. Custom only characters. So the in-game custom character builder, it's the only way you can play as some characters such as Huntress, Azrael, Black Mask, and Spoiler. This requires 100% completion of the game before you're able to build up these characters properly. Early models and trailers. So the early trailers of the game depict variations of some of the character models we see in the final game, and this is almost certainly due to the fact that the trailers were published when development. It's their ongoing examples include a different character model for some police officers who weren't ever seen in the final game, Batman and Arkham Asylum. So this is just referring to the glitch I showed in the myth video, so yeah, it's the same thing. You can watch that video if you want. The Yeti. So for an unknown reason, there is a Yeti character you can purchase from the in-game store after you complete the final story. However, there appears to be no reference or links or ties to this character, in any other part of the game, so we're not really sure why he's been included. He has no special abilities other than his gun, and doesn't appear to be in any cutscenes. There was speculation that the Yeti was supposed to be part of Mr. Freeze's storyline that ended up on the cutting room floor, perhaps a goon or a henchman model. Tier 3. Set in early 1990s, judging by the general appearance of the setting, technology, available and character design in vehicles, it's possible that the game takes place in the late 80s to early 90s. Personally, I think the timeline is completely separate, and personally, I think that the timeline is completely mythical and separate from our universe, as it's usually the case with many pieces of Batman media, such as the Burton films or the Gotham TV show, where there is a mismatch of technology, aesthetic, and architecture, which makes it hard to pinpoint an extra era and analog into our timeline. Either that, or it's set in the era it was released in. Police Marksman. So the Police Marksman has different character designs depending on which level you play. This is also the only extra toggle character from earlier. Lego Batman 2 is a reboot. So Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes, it's pretty much has zero reference to this game and appears to be a hard reset of the franchise. However, this isn't true. Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes is a canon sequel, so it's not true. Killer Moth wing size change. So in every Lego Batman game since the original, the wings on Killer Moth have gotten smaller, the only exception being it's the redesign in the latest Lego DC Supervillains game. Oh wait, he's not in that game. Why? Takes place after No Man's Land. So No Man's Land is a dark, gritty, and well-known and much-loved Batman comic series in which Gotham City is declared no longer a part of the United States of America following a cataclysmic earthquake, leaving the city in wreck and ruin. The arc has become so popular that much of the more recent Batman media has taken direct inspiration from the story arc. For example, the second act of Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises and the 4th and 5th seasons of the Gotham TV series. This entry of the iceberg is exploring the theory that the in-game universe may take place after the events of the No Man's Land, as the game appears to be in the 90s, and would explain the disappearance of many of the villains not included in this game. Glass breaks textures. So one of the more prominent bugs in this game is a situation where the glass texture in the ice cream factory causes the faces of Mr. Freeze, the Joker, and the Penguin to glitch out. Boundary break. So in some of the levels, there's the possibility to leave the ward boundary and explore the levels freely. In the level The Law of the Night, there's a great example of this. Deconstructible Alfred. So in the Batcave in Wayne Manor, Alfred is the only character you can deconstruct in 1 or 2 punches, either by knocking him into a wall or off the balcony. Tier 4. Unused levels. So this entry is referring to the unused levels in the game, most notably the Fairgrounds entrance, which when modders dug into the game, discovered that this level can actually be playable into LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, as it fits the same data and file requirement of that game. Original Harley Quinn. So there was an older Harley Quinn model that was half cut from the final game, and the original model can still be seen in a few places throughout the game, mostly on billboards, which I don't know where, but it looks cool and cute, but also at the same time, it looks weird and a little creepy kinda. Just like the regular Harley Quinn. I mean the Jester one, that is. Ice Rocket. So this is also from the Myth video I did, so same thing with the Heroes in Arkham Asylum bit. Check out the video if you want. iOS versions. So this is referring to mobile versions of the game, along with the sequel and third game, along with a new mobile game. That was a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you only played as Batman, and it was developed by Glue. Hookers in The Dark Knight. So in the level In The Dark Knight features the iconic but very seedy looking nightclub. Given the decrepit and rundown nature of Gotham City in this game, it's theorized that these dancers are doing more than dancing to make ends meet. Absence of Deadshot. So despite that many of the main constituents of Batman's Rogues Gallery makes an appearance in this game, there is no reference to Deadshot, Its first appearance in the series is in the 3DS version of LEGO Batman 2, and he appears in every subsequent entry in the series. Nicholas Toht. So Nicholas Toht was a Dutch doctor and famous for being the subject of a famous oil painting by Rembrandt called The Anatomy Lesson of Dr. Nicholas Toht, which depicts Toht given an explanation of the musculature of an arm to a group of doctors. This slightly graphic painting is featured in the level The Joker's Masterpiece in the game, which is set in an art gallery. It is rather surprising that this painting would be included in such a child-friendly game. Personally, I think it's a reference to Batman 1989 because the painting appears in the famous iconic Party Man scene in the Flugelheim Museum, and the art gallery resembles the Flugelheim Museum, where the main room at least. Joker. Oof. Joke. So upon completing the final level in the Joker's storyline to the top of the tower, the final cutscene ends with a close-up of the Joker in his cell. He pulls out a gun and puts it to the side of his head. When he pulls the trigger, it is revealed to be the stupid Bane flag gun toy, and he laughs maniacally into the camera as it cuts to Batman and Robin flying over Gotham. This is surprisingly dog inclusion, despite the fact that it was a fake gun. It's still pretty odd and a dog inclusion to a game aimed at children. Star Wars and Xbox 360 version. So in the Xbox 360 version of LEGO Batman the video game, modders have uncovered many leftover files from LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, mainly some images and achievements and data for some character models. Tier 5. Little Fun at the Big Top Negative Ore. So this level has a very negative, eerie, odd, and unsettling atmosphere. It's set in a rundown and decrepit carnival with other oddities such as a crashed bus, which might be a reference to the beginning of The Dark Knight, and Commissioner Gordon being trapped in a cage. This is supposed to be with the very upbeat, uplifting, and happy classical music playing in the background. It only helps to add the very eerie nature of the game's universe. The Yeti is based on the snowman. So carrying on from the Yeti we talked about earlier, there's a theory that the Yeti character guy is actually based on a villain from Batman's Rogues Gallery called Snowman. Considering how lesser known foes appear in the game, it's suggested that Traveler's Tales started the Yeti as a way to include Snowman into the game. Hidden Progress Counter. So this is referring to another leftover from LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. Apparently there's a hidden progress counter from The Complete Saga, which is out of bounds in the Batcave. It was probably left over by accident. I couldn't find any footage or pictures for this one, but you're gonna just take my word. Dark Knight Time. So due to the release of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight and the fact that a previous Time game being developed by Pandemic Game Studios at the time had been canned, LEGO Batman the video game became the de facto Time game for The Dark Knight's release, and I'm sure many of its sales were driven by the marketing and media hype of the films being released at the time. Makes sense because of Heath Ledger's acting in that. Two-Fate's Chase music. So this item is referring to unused audio for the Two-Fate's Chase level. It was supposed to play when there was no action happening in the game. The piece is just the exact same theme as the calm background music used in the Batcave that has added car noises and sounds. Here's a sample of how it sounds. Odd Character Roster. So LEGO Batman the video game has the smallest catalog of character model of any mainline Traveler's Tales LEGO game. As mentioned before, there are unlockable characters who never appeared before, and reason for inclusion is unknown, such as the Yeti, Fishmonger, military policeman, and alternate costumes of Joker, Harley Quinn, and Catwoman. Several characters could have been included, but also cut. However, some of these for some reason did end up in the DS version of the game. Tier 6, or the final tier. LBI Agent. So one of the other inclusions in the extra toggle was the inclusion of a character called LBI Agent. Its purpose is unknown as his connection to the game or Batman lore. In fact, it's impossible to pinpoint any Batman or LEGO character that this may have been trying to reference. Perhaps this is just a way of trying to expand the LEGO universe's lore with some sort of FBI analog for the LEGO universe. Also, if you look at his model, he has a name tag, and on it said Special Agent Bob. So Bob he shall be called. Special Agent title, optional. Arkham Asylum prequel. So Batman Arkham Asylum, it's another famous Batman video game and a classic that was released just a year after LEGO Batman the video game, the year of 2009. And it was aimed at a more mature audience. However, there are quite a few coincidences which has created the theory that LEGO Batman the video game is a prequel to Batman Arkham Asylum. For example, every single villain who is in LEGO Batman the video game also makes an appearance in Arkham Asylum. Along with every character in LEGO Batman the video game, it's also mentioned in Batman Arkham Asylum. Traveler's Tales rushed the game. So it's inferred that Traveler's Tales rushed the development and release of this game, which helps explain much of the mystery behind many of the items from the first tier, judging by the tight release schedule that they had during this period, leading up to and after LEGO Batman the video game. It'd be reasonable to assume that resources were stretched and parts of the game were overlooked, cut, or left unpolished due to this fact. Furthermore, the company may have been trying to capitalize on the release of Nolan's The Dark Knight and wanted the game to be ready for this. Gotham, it's a nuclear fallout. So another theory by the creator of this iceberg to explain why Gotham in this game is such a decrepit, creepy, and eerie state. It's that it could be due to the fact that Gotham suffered from some form of nuclear event and is now suffering the consequences of the fallout. It may explain the backstory of how villains such as Clayface and Killer Croc exist. Killer Moth in Trophy Room. So probably the strangest glitch in the game, it's the fact that you are able to cause an unkillable version of Killer Moth to appear in the trophy room, which is a nice room in Wayne Manor. Some people think it's possible he died after the events of the main story and now haunts Wayne Manor. I don't think that. I think it's just a glitch. He appears in the sequel and in the third game. LEGO Batman the video game is the darkest LEGO game ever made. So LEGO Batman the video game being the darkest LEGO game ever made, if we think back over the years and even the tiers from this iceberg and video, we can kind of see the justification for why LEGO Batman the video game might be considered the darkest LEGO video game ever, from the chalk outline and the dark jokes. So yeah, this is the darkest LEGO video game ever made. And it's interesting how the second and third game and the rest of this game's universe are different and lighthearted, but they are canon either way. I'm not sure if that's true for LEGO DC Supervillain or LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, but that said, LEGO Batman the video game is the darkest LEGO video game ever made, and that's it for this video. Glad we could talk about this.